Hey, it's Matt, and this is Fantasy Football Almost Daily. Before we begin, it helps this show immensely if you give your support with a follow and a subscription, and it helps us even more if you give us a great rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or iHeartRadio or even a thumbs up on YouTube. The Week 10 Fanball slate is all good to go. There's a Thursday night 5x5 combo. It's got the Raiders and Broncos, but we also added in the Sunday morning Berlin game between the Falcons and Colts. And then there's a random Jacoby Myers in there because he was traded after the contest was created. A Sunday and Monday 5x5 are on the docket as well, but there's also the Peacock, which has a top prize of $1,000, the High Five, the Buck Hunter, and more. We'll tell you all the best players to play on today's episode of Fantasy Football Almost Daily. And there's also a TNF contest tonight on the Fanball mobile app for only $1. If you want to get $20 on a deposit match, use the promo code ALMOST on Fanball, and we'll give you a $20 deposit match. Today's episode also brought to you by Game Blazers. They just launched their second half Game Blazers Pass. It's a rewards pass like you'd see in other mobile games where you earn XP for almost everything you do in the app, and then you level up your pass for boosts and more bonuses. And if you get the premium pass, you get even better rewards. And if you use the referral code FFAD when you register, if you're a new guy, you get the free starter pack plus a free rare pack, and that's usually $25. And then if you spend $5, they'll give you 2 more rare packs. So that's a $50 value. Download Game Blazers today. Today we dive deep into the Sunday slate for Week 10. We're already at Week 10 on Fanball. T-Bone Jones about to join me after the music.
From the Sports Hub Games Network, this is Fantasy Football Almost Daily with your host, Matt Harrison.
Fantasy Football Almost Daily, the DFS edition on Thursdays. It's Matt Harrison. It's Trevor Jones. Hi, Trevor.
Matt, is that a new intro song for us this week?
We have to keep doing new intro songs. I have an artist that is going to create some original music for me. I hope that I have it by this time next week. So we might have a new intro song again, that one that's permanent and totally ours, because it would be original.
Knock on wood, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. We're going to preview Week 10 from a DFS perspective on the show. And while we generally use those Fanball figures, most of the information could be used on any other salary cap sites. And Trevor, you won our internals last week, I believe, and I got second in a couple. So I think we're doing pretty good here. Let's check out some of the relevant NFL news from around the league first.
News team, assemble!
There are a lot of injuries right now. CJ Stroud is going to miss Week 10 due to a concussion. Marvin Mims also won't play on Thursday night due to his concussion. Rico Dowdle has a quad injury, and he didn't practice on Wednesday. And let's stay in the running backs in that division who didn't practice. Bucky Irving did not go on Wednesday either, and that doesn't look good for Bucky since they're coming off a bye week. Neither did his teammate Chris Godwin. They're probably both out this week. James Cook missed practice on Wednesday as well, but they're theorizing that was a maintenance day for him. Ramondre Stevenson didn't practice on Wednesday either. He missed last week. It looks like he's trending like he's going to miss Week 10 as well. Garrett Wilson limited in practice. It looks like he might return this week. They're coming off the bye. Brian Thomas Jr. has a low ankle sprain, although Scott Fish told me it was the lowest high ankle sprain you can
I saw that as well. It's the low high ankle, which I didn't know was possible.
Is that just your ankle?
I don't. The ankle's only like this big, right? How much how much division do we have between high, low, mid?
I don't know. It looks like Brian Thomas Jr. has a chance to play on Sunday, though. Kyler Murray was placed on IR, and Jacoby Brissett gets the wheel for at least 4 weeks. Then we go to the Bears, who are a team that I like a lot this week, and I'm going to highlight a little bit on the show. Kyle Monangai was limited. So was DeAndre Swift, and I kind of think that all of us just wish there was one running back there. DJ Moore and Rome Odunze didn't practice, but both had last Wednesday off as well, and they both played. Luther Burden did practice, though, and he missed last week. Michael Pittman took Wednesday off nursing a glute injury, but he's usually a guy who plays through injuries. He's always playing through injuries. The Colts play Sunday in the Berlin game, though. That's early morning. So if you're thinking about starting Pittman, you may need to set an alarm and get up a little early to make sure that he's still in lineups. That's most of the injuries that we got out there. We'll mention a couple other in our matchups today, but we encourage you to go try Fanball both on the web and the Fanball mobile app. Salary cap games are web only right now. And Fanball Winners is on the mobile app. There's a $1 Thursday Raiders Broncos matchup. A lot of open spots at this time. Guaranteed $100 out there for anybody who picks all four of the teams. So that's pretty fun. Trevor, week 10 is here. We're back to a Europe game. We only got 2 more of those. It's a 4-team bye week. And that removed a handful of good players from the Sunday slate, including the Bengals and Cowboys. So we don't get to pick on those defenses this week. Made it much more difficult to plan this podcast. But the Bills and Dolphins have the highest over-under at 50. The Bills have an implied total of 30. The Lions also have 30 implied points against Washington. So those 2 games are probably the high point totals. And I kind of stacked a couple in there for a few of those teams. Let's start with you, though. Who's the player who's going to be in close to half of all your lineups you'll make this week?
Yeah, so I think every week this season, this player has been a, 7,000, 8,000 CMC or Bijan or somebody, right? And we're going bottom of the barrel here. We're going Parker Washington, 3,600.
Oh, no.
He's a receiver for the Jaguars. Not everyone might know that. And they're playing at Houston this week. No Travis Hunter. BTJ, we just talked about the high, low, mid ankle sprain. Chance to play, but that saps you, right? That high ankle sprain is just no good. No Brenton Strange, their top tight end. No De'Ami Brown. Jacoby Myers will have had 5 days with the Jacksonville Jaguars when he suits up. So Washington has 19 targets over the past 2 weeks, including 8 for 90 performance last week. He paced the Jags in catches and yards. Washington's also primarily a slot receiver, so you don't get to deal with Derek Stingley, the Texan star corner. So Parker is going to be we're going to need to get some expensive players in this week, and he's how I'm starting the salary savings.
That is wild to play Parker Washington like a 3rd or 4th string wide receiver against one of the best defenses in the league.
Yep.
You're a wild
man. There's only 2 players who are going to actually, it's going to be Washington and Jacoby Myers, who, like I just said, he might not know the playbook at all. So yeah, it's bold, but I think it's a good spot.
All right. I'll go with an expensive wide receiver for my guy in half my lineups. I got Amon-Ra St. Brown. Double-digit targets in 3 straight games. Has only scored once in the past 4 weeks, and he scored 6 touchdowns in the prior 3 games before those. Slot receivers like the Sun God have brutally murdered the Commanders secondary this year. JSN went for 8 for 129 last week. Rashee Rice, who's the primary slot for the Chiefs, he went 9 for 93 in a score. CeeDee Lamb, 5 for 110 in a score. Those are just the last 3 weeks versus the slot wide receivers. So I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is just due for a monster game.
And that Washington defense is, I know we talked about we don't have the Bears or we don't have the Bengals or Cowboys on this slate. We do have that defense, though. Washington defense, they are bad.
All right, a player above 7,000 on Fanball that you would not put in any of your lineups.
Yeah, this one hurts me a little bit. We got Devontae Adams, 7,400 at San Francisco. He's having a nice year, but he's almost living exclusively off of touchdowns. He only has 1 game with more than 5 catches this year. He's cracked 60 yards just twice. And he only has 134 combined receiving yards over his past 3. He's put up 23 plus Fanball points the last 2 weeks because he has 5 touchdowns for those last 2 weeks.
Wow.
And again, we're getting Puka Nacua back this week. And those 2 games were when Devontae went off and Puka only played 1/2 of those 2 games. So Puka's back and Devontae is still priced like Puka might not play. I'd rather pay up a couple hundred for Amon-Ra, like you just said, or Justin Jefferson's right in that range too.
All right. My guy, we're sticking with wide receivers. I'm not putting Nico Collins in any of my lineups. He's at 7,000, mostly because Davis Mills is the quarterback this week. And last week he threw the ball 30 times. He completed only 17 of them for 137 yards. Yuck. The Jags are a half decent matchup too. I just don't think that this is a good fit for the passing game at all.
I agree. Although I will have a Texans pass catcher later on. So
Oh
I don't
no. What are you doing? Let's talk about our favorite quarterback picks of the week. And I'll go first because as we kind of went through this on Slack before the show, I figured out both of my guys are more expensive than both of your guys. So I can start with my expensive Jared Goff. Like I said before, the Lions are tied for the most implied points this week. And after last week's pretty disappointing loss to the Vikings, I think a course correction is coming. Commanders are allowing the second most passing yards and the fifth most touchdowns. Opposing quarterbacks are averaging 268 and 2. I mean, that right there is just, that's money. And I think Goff has a very good chance to getting way more than that. And the price isn't terrible at 6,200.
The Lions, like you said, too, they're one of those offenses that when they go off, everybody wins, right? They put up 42, and Laporta's got 2, and Amon-Ra's got 8 for 100. And this could be one of those avalanche spots for Detroit. I like that one. I'll go with my expensive quarterback, Jackson Dart, 5,900 at Chicago. I didn't love the high-end quarterbacks this week. That's why I've kind of got the 2 cheap ones, and you got 2 more expensive. Are you familiar with Pokemon at all, Matt?
Yeah, Pikachu. Okay. I choose you.
There you go. That's enough. So Jackson Dart, to me, he's like the first evolution in the Jackson Dart, Drake May, Josh Allen, like Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard thing, where he's like, well, you see a little bit of it. He's big, athletic, and a strong arm. He's got some of that chaos that Josh Allen played with early. And then you watch him throw another 5 passes, and you're like, well, this might be the worst quarterback in the league. So he's kind of all over the place, but he's a great fantasy option this week. Playing against a Bears defense that's given up some of the best offensive performances of the year, including 42 to Joe Flacco in Cincinnati last week. Dart's floor has been excellent this year. He's not had a fan ball game yet below 19 fantasy points. His rushing upside is just awesome. He's averaged 8 rushes per game, and he has 5 rushing touchdowns in 6 starts. Both the floor and the ceiling are just really good right here for Mr. Dart.
All right. Well, I'm going to take my quarterback for the budget pick on the other side of that game, and he's a little bit more expensive than Jackson Dart, just a little bit. 6,100 Caleb Williams. Huge week last week against the Bengals, but everybody does that against the Bengals. But this week he gets a Giants defense that's basically missing every member of their secondary, and I'll highlight that a little bit more later. The Giants are bottom 10 in completions, yards, interceptions, rushing yards, and rushing scores allowed to quarterbacks. And Caleb ran for over 50 yards last week, too. 2 really bad defenses in this game. This should be a shootout. And I think that we're sitting on a game where we could just see a ton of points, almost like the Bengals-Bears game last week, where they hit 80 easily.
Yeah, I hope we get some clarity on the DeAndre Swift, Kyle Monangai, that is at least one is playing or one guy is an emergency option or something. Because yeah, I agree. This is a good one to stack. My cheap quarterback, we'll go with Marcus Mariota, 5,400 at home against Detroit. Mariota's had 4 full starts for Washington since 2024. In those performances, he's thrown for 3 touchdowns 3 times, and his rushing games have been 34 yards, 56 with 1 touchdown, 40 with a touchdown, and 20. Washington's defense, like I said, horrible. Been getting torched recently, giving up 135 points in their last 4 games. We talked about Detroit has the highest total on the slate. They're also an 8-point road favorite over this crap Washington team. I think there will be a lot of garbage time here. And Mariota doesn't really have a lot of help right now. So it's kind of going to be on him to put up all of the points.
We inadvertently game stacked both of our quarterback picks.
Oh, yeah, we did. That's funny.
We used to go pew, 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 game stack. Remember that?
Oh, right. Yeah.
That was fun times.
That's a throwback.
All right. My expensive pick at the running back position is James Cook at 7,400. He's playing the Dolphins. In the first meeting with the Dolphins this year, Cook had 22 touches, 118 yards, and a score. And volume for Cook has been pretty insane lately. 19 for 216 and 2 weeks ago. 27 carries for 114 yards against the Chiefs last week. The Dolphins are surrendering 5.0 yards per carry and 119 rushing yards per game. And if the game's at all close, Cook gets all of that. And the only time he doesn't get all of it is garbage time. And there could be garbage time in this, but then Cook's already had a good day.
I mean, it was like his game against Carolina a couple weeks ago, where I think he mostly just played 3 quarters and had like 250 yards and 3 touchdowns, and then went and sat his butt on the bench. Yeah, that's a good pick. I'll go with Christian McCaffrey. There's not really a lot that needs to be said here. 8,600 home against the Rams. 1 game below 23 fan ball points all year. He had that poor week 8 game against a really good Houston defense. Last week, he bounced back, like I believe you said he would. 33 touches, 173 combo yards, 2 touchdowns against that Giants defense. The Rams do have a really good defense, actually, but CMC he's Thanos, right? He's inevitable. Like, it's just, he's getting 30 yards. He's getting 30 carries, 130 yards and a touchdown. With no JT and no Jamar Chase on the slate, I think CMC is, without a doubt, number 1 with a bullet.
I think it's interesting too. The Niners and Rams always have some pretty tight games against each other, but the Niners tend to win a little bit more against the Rams. They kind of have their number. So, and I think it's obviously McCaffrey getting it done if they're going to do that again.
And CMC had 30 for 131 against the Rams in their first matchup.
Yeah,
with like Mac Jones and no George Kittle. And yeah.
My budget guy is Jordan Mason at 5,400. Aaron Jones has a sprained AC joint. He might miss this week. The Vikings are trying to say that there's a chance that he can play. It doesn't sound very likely, though. And if that's the case, Jordan Mason gets the nod as the lead back again. And it's a good spot against the Ravens defense. Although Baltimore has improved a little bit lately against the run, lead backs have still hit 15 fan ball points in 3 straight weeks. And at 5,400, 15 fan ball points is about all you need to return value. And I think that there's upside beyond that too. But this is only if Jones is out. If Jones is out, it's a smash spot for Jordan Mason. If they suddenly rule that Aaron Jones is in, I think I'd probably avoid Jordan in this one.
Yeah, actually, I hadn't heard that Aaron Jones was in danger of missing the game. So that's a good one. He might go into my lineup. We'll see.
See, I always make you think about things, Trevor.
I know. we're a good team.
Yeah.
All right. So cheap running back. Hopefully he plays. Mr. Dowdle, 6,200 for the Panthers against New Orleans. So he finally broke the Panthers running back timeshare last week with Chuba Hubbard. He dominated the touches 27-5, turned that into 140 combo yards, 2 touchdowns. I got a front row seat. He was going nuts against my Packers. Even that quad injury, he definitely suffered. Obviously, he suffered it in the game. You could see him limping around in the game, and then he just stays in and runs for a touchdown. I'm like, this guy's a superhero. Just go take some rest, buddy. He's playing like one of the best backs in the league. He's 3rd in rushing yards over expectation in the league, behind only Jonathan Taylor and James Cook. In the 4 games this year, Dowdle has seen at least 18 touches. His average line is 150 rushing yards, 2.5 catches, 28 receiving yards, and a touchdown. Carolina is a 5.5-point home favorite against the Saints team, trying to prove that they did not flush away a top 40 pick on Tyler Shuck. So that's a great spot. If he doesn't play, Travion, if Ramondre doesn't go, is also a great look. All
right. Wide receiver plays. My expensive guy, Rome Odunze, and I kind of hinted at this. Giants corners, Paulson Adebo, Cordell Flott, Andrew Phillips, all look like they won't go. They have another corner who's on IR, by the way. And safety Javon Holland was limited in practice. The Giants starting secondary wasn't good when they were healthy, and now they're not healthy and probably not playing again. They've allowed 6 different wide receivers to hit double-digit fan ball points in the last 3 games. So Rome Odunze coming off a big fat 0 last week in an awesome game. And something we used to say on the Fantasy Football Almost Daily podcast at its inception, this is an Eric Decker theory game right here, where he got the 0 in the game that he should have gotten a ton. Now everybody's going to be off him, and he's going to come back and go hog wild.
Yeah, you'll get him for 15% less ownership, right, in tournaments than you would the week before. That's a good one. I've got an easy one here, just JSN, 7,800 home against Arizona. He's clearly a top 5 receiver in the league right now, and probably the most consistent fantasy producer, maybe outside of Puka. He's got 4 straight games with at least 8 catches, 120 yards. He scored a touchdown in 3 of those 4. Arizona's okay defensively, but they just gave up Lamb and Pickens. They allowed them to clear 6 catches and 75 yards each last week. JSN's only game without 20 fan ball points was in week 4 to this Arizona defense. However, that was a Thursday night game, which is always a weird one, in which Seattle led by double digits for most of the game, and JSN still went 4 for 79. So that's your absolute floor almost. He's got the highest target share percentage of all NFL players since 2020 at 38.2%. The next closest since then was last year Malik Neighbors, 34.9. 3% higher.
Wow.
anyone in the last 6
I
years.
would have thought that Jamar Chase was even above him right now.
Yeah.
Flacco in the last couple weeks.
Right. Jeez.
That's pretty intense. My budget receivers, I actually got two here. Keenan Allen at 5,100 and a bonus on Quentin Johnston at 5,400. The Steelers secondary has been bad. They've actually been decent-ish against slot receivers, though, and because that's Jalen Ramsey's spot, and he's all right. But decent-ish isn't a ton better. Ladd McConkey runs the most slot routes for the Chargers, so he gets the toughest path. Allen does flex in there, but he goes outside too. So I'm just going to bet on the non-McConkey guys. I'm going to bet on Allen and Johnston, who are the cheaper ones too. And last week, the perimeter wide receivers for the Colts, they both topped 100 yards. Chase and Higgins each hit at least 96 yards 2 weeks before that. And Jefferson and Addison each topped 100 yards for the Vikings not long before that. So I think both Keenan Allen and Quentin Johnston can eat in this game.
In these spots, I always get kind of paralyzed where it's like, which one do I play? And I just play neither. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
How about both?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, honestly, you could play. Yeah, a little Herbert and a little mini stack with those two at 5K each. That gives you the opportunity to put all the good players, the JSNs and the CMCs. Here's another guy that can help you get some studs in. Tez Johnson, 3,300 Tampa receiver, home against New England. No Godwin, no Evans, probably no Bucky. That leaves Ibuka, Tez Johnson, and Cade Otton as their main receiving options. Tez has 15 combined targets over the last 2 games. He's cleared 40 yards at 4 straight. The Bucks-Pats game total is actually just 1.5 points lower than that Detroit game, which is the highest total game of the week. So Tez offers a really cheap way to get access to the game and, again, allow us to get the 8K players in.
All right, tight ends. My expensive pick is the most expensive guy on the board. It's Trey McBride. Jacoby Brissett has started the last 3 games for the Cardinals, and he's going to at least start the next 4. Trey McBride has been like Jacoby Brissett's whoopee the entire time. Week 6, 11 targets, 8 catches, 72 yards, and a score. Week 7, 13 targets, 10 catches, 74 yards, 2 touchdowns. Week 9, 9 targets, 5 catches, 55 yards, and a touchdown. He scored a touchdown in every Brissett start this year. The Seahawks have excellent corners, but they've had issues with the tight end, allowing the 8th most receptions and the 10th most yards. I think Trey McBride's sitting on a sneaky good game if the Cardinals want to stay involved.
And I think it's very obvious that Brissett is the key to unlocking. I should say this. Someone who can throw over the middle of the field that isn't my height is the key to unlocking Trey McBride in the red zone.
A wee little lad?
Yeah. Again, no offense to 5'9" guys, but come on, Kyler. So expensive tight end. We've got another Chargers pass catcher, Rondé Gadsden II, 4,600 home for Pittsburgh. Gadsden's got 4 straight games with 5 catches and 68 yards at least, a pair of touchdowns in that span as well. It's an excellent matchup with Pittsburgh. Allowed the 2nd most tight end touchdowns and the 6th most yards to the position, and that includes the Steelers have already had their bye week. Since their bye, the Steelers gave up 7 for 81 to Harold Fannin, 4 for 44 and 1 to Noah Fant, who I didn't know was capable of that, I guess. And then Tucker Kraft obviously went nuke a couple weeks ago on Sunday Night Football.
May he rest
Allen
in
does.
peace.
Yeah, you're telling me, man. Keenan Allen does operate in some of the same parts of the field as Gadsden, and he has just 6 catches over the past 2 weeks. I do wonder a little bit of Keenan Allen is like 33, and we're past the halfway point of the season. Just something to keep an eye on. But so I like Gadsden this week.
Oh, some slight shade being thrown on my wide receiver pick there. I see how it is.
Something to keep an eye on.
The guy I gave you as my deep sleeper last week was Colston Loveland. He's my cheap tight end this week, and I think I can play the peacock sounder here. Like, there we go. I kind of nailed that one, but that one was kind of easy to pick against the Bengals' historically bad tight end defense. I think we're going to do that the rest of the year. But I think Loveland kind of turned a corner in this offense, and it helps that basically every other player who plays a position for the Bears is on the injury report. Most importantly, Cole Kmet, who suffered a concussion in week 9. They said he was limited in practice this week. He had a back injury and was questionable all last week. He missed week 8 with that back injury. Normally, concussion guys missed at least 1 week. I don't know why the Bears would be like All right, Komet, you're in, and you're going to take Loveland snaps here. It's not like Loveland's not doing well enough, so I feel like Komet probably sits this one. And the Giants have been absolutely roasted by Dallas Goedert twice in the last 4 weeks. I think Colston Loveland's sitting on a good game too.
I think even if Komet doesn't sit, like you said, I think Colston Loveland's played well enough that he's just earned more playing time, whether that's a 80-20 dominate snaps over Komet or not. But I think he's definitely earned more work. My cheap guy will go with the Houston pass catcher here, Dalton Schultz, 3,400 home for Jacksonville. This is mostly just Jacksonville is terrible against the tight end. Bottom 5 in catches, yards, and touchdowns to the position, despite already having had their bye. Some of that was just Brock Bowers going super nuclear last week. Again, we are getting Davis Mills at quarterback for the Texans, which is a step down from Stroud. Mills did show a preference for Dalton Schultz though, last week, targeting him 8 times. He went 6 for 77 on those 8 touches. It was earlier in the year, and it was with Stroud, but Schultz had a respectable 5 for 39 against the Jags in week 4. At $3,400, that's all we need.
Sure. My deep sleeper is a little more expensive than your $3,400 tight end. Mine's a $3,700 tight end named Cade Otton, who I think was your sleeper a couple weeks ago. We highlighted this one a little while ago, but Otton usually gets a big uptick in work when everyone is hurt. Both Godwin and Evans are out again, and he only had 4 for 40 in the game before the bye, and then he had the bye week. So I think everybody's going to be way, way off Cade Otton, but he had 9 targets in the week 7 game. This Patriot game should be a pretty close one, and the Pats defense has been pretty good against the pass, but their linebackers and safeties have had a tough time with the tight end. 7th most receiving yards allowed to the tight end position. Touchdowns to both of the Cleveland tight ends in week 8. I think Cade Otton's sitting on a pretty decent game here, and for only 3,700, I think we're looking at something like 7 catches, 60 yards, and probably a score.
It's almost a mini Eric Decker situation because I was really high on him a couple weeks ago, and it wasn't a goose egg, but it was bad. Right now, it's like
8 points. Yeah,
still the same spot. Yeah. So my deep sleeper, I've got Juwan Johnson, the Saints tight end, 3,500 at Carolina. I don't know if you've ever heard of the shower narrative. This is Adam Levitan on his podcast talks about how if a quarterback and receiver or quarterback and tight end played together in college, they have deeper like on-field connection because we've showered together, right?
Oh, okay. Like Bo Nix and Troy Franklin.
Yeah, yep. Or Burrow, Chase, Tua Waddle, etc. Here. So
sure.
In 2019, redshirt freshman Tyler Shook took the field for Oregon, backup duty for Justin Herbert, and shared the field with then senior receiver for Oregon, Juwan Johnson. Probably nothing, but it's kind of funny that the rookie quarterback threw to like a guy who's still under 30. He threw to him 6 years ago. Anyways, the Saints traded Rashid Shaheed this week, so that would really condense the target share around Olave and Juwan Johnson as the top receiving targets. Johnson did show some decent rapport with Shuck last week, 3 for 31 and 1. It's a good matchup too. Carolina's allowed the 5th most tight end yards this year.
All right, Trevor, do you have a lineup that you're ready to set?
Yeah, I do. So we got Jackson Dart and Mariota at QB. Running back, we got CMC and Rico Dowdle. Receiver, JSN, Rome, Odunze, Juwan Johnson, Dalton Schultz at tight end, and then I have James Cook at my flex. Ooh. So I think every single one of these players was on either your or my list.
Yeah, I made a lineup too, but I'm not going to read it off because it was all on my list. You just heard me talk about them on the show. Let's talk about the Sunday 5x5 contest. Again, it's the late games up on Fanball, and there's a couple of pretty decent guys at the expensive end here. We got JSN, Christian McCaffrey, Puka, of course, is up there, and Herbert. But when you get down to the cheaper end of the guys right now, you can see Marvin Harrison down there. Ooh, that's kind of interesting. Sam Laporta off a big game last week, and Ladd McConkey, Oronde Gadsden, guys that we kind of like. Keenan Allen and Quentin Johnston are $2. Any of these guys that you would for sure put in a 5x5 lineup?
When I was kind of mapping through my process earlier, I think I'm going 2 5s and 2 1s. I think CMC and then JSN or Puka, and then Laporta and McConkey at the $1. I think those are, I don't know, those feel like the best plays to me.
And then you can go with a $3
I don't know what to do with
McBride.
Yeah.
Or Purdy Jones, whichever one starts.
Yeah, that's probably the route I would take.
All right. Well, those of you who watch the video version of the podcast, you can see exactly what we just talked about on the video. You can go to YouTube, subscribe there. On Spotify, it's a video podcast. How cool is that? All right. Trevor, anything else that you got going on this weekend? You were pretty disappointed by your Packers losing
Yep.
one of the biggest point spread games of the year.
Yep. We had that and went to the Go for Michigan State game, which they won in overtime. That was fun. And
There we go.
but yeah, no Sunday football for the Packers, no Saturday football for the Gophers. So
Oh, that's right. The Packers are Monday night against the Eagles. That should be a pretty fun one. We got a 5x5 up for the Packers and Eagles up on Fanball as well. Real quick, a reminder on Game Blazers, get in on the mid-season madness. No, don't get on the mid-season madness. That's over. Sign up with promo code FFAD, get a free starter pack and a free rare pack. And then if you spend $5, you get 2 more rare packs for free. So that's basically $75 worth of packs for $5. Ooh, I like that a lot. So learn more at gameblazers.com and use that promo code FFAD if you sign up there. All right, Trevor, we'll see you next week on another edition of Fantasy Football Almost Daily.
This was Fantasy Football Almost Daily. Please subscribe and give us a 5-star rating wherever you listen to podcasts.